Welcome to another Wall Street Informer production on WSI TV.
We're back for a brand new episode of WSI TV. I'm Sean Bauer, with me is Jordan Bishop, and today we're going to talk about how we're going to get you in a driverless car for free.
Yeah, you know, as the tech industry is fighting on, is battling forward, the NASDAQ crossed 6,000 the other week. You know, we're turning our focus to these driverless cars, these big companies that are really pushing to get you into that driverless vehicle.
Yeah, it's no longer just a thing of the future like Jordan's mentioning there. It's becoming a reality right now with a lot of big name companies that you know. Now this one at the top, Delphi Automotive, we're going to get to in just a minute. You may not know that one quite as well, but of course you know Tesla, Apple, Google, Ford, and even Uber, which hasn't even gone public yet, Jordan.
Right, yeah. I mean, I have my qualms with Uber. You know, I think that for them to be investing in the driverless car industry, it's going to be a very short thing for them, because once everyone has driverless cars, you're not going to need an Uber.
Yeah, exactly right. Just have your car drive you.
Exactly, and I make a strong stance on that every time, so.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point here is that investors, if you're investing in one of these companies now, part of what you're investing in is the future of driverless vehicles and what these companies are working towards with them. But I think we can make these driverless car companies pay for your driverless car. So what I want you to look at right now is the chart for Delphi that we have up on your screen. Now, just the other day, where you see that big jump on the right of the chart there, that's whenever Delphi announced that it was kind of pivoting and focusing solely on autonomous vehicles, on driverless cars. Obviously, investors saw a huge response there, and it jumped up something like 13 or 14% in a couple of days so far. And this is the chart from last Thursday, I believe. But obviously, you know, huge jumps, huge profits, and this is just the beginning, really, George. Yeah,
and this isn't a new thing. You know, we see new players adapting to the driverless car game every day. You know, every week there's some new company. We saw NVIDIA, who's a big battery company. They announced a little while ago, before their stock took off, but they were making the batteries for Tesla's vehicles at one point. I know Tesla's doing their own batteries now. But, you know, every week it's like someone else wants to jump into it. And that's really going to expedite the reality of an autonomous car world that we're going to live in. You know?
Right. And in the grand scheme of things, this is the very beginning. This is chapter 1 or 2 of a 30-chapter book. And that's why, even though you're seeing, you know, something that's already jumped up like this, where you think maybe you're behind on the trade and you're not in early enough, there are plenty of gains to be made. And you can see how just a little bit of information to one company here about being focused on driverless cars has such a huge impact on the share price. And I mean, it's not going to take a whole lot for you to get that $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, or whatever it's going to cost for a driverless car.
Right. I mean, I see this industry, it could be as big as the internet was, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you got in Amazon back then, you're making millions now. But even if you got in 5 years into that reign, you still made a very healthy profit off that. So you're not too late. You know, we're still not too late. If you got in before, then maybe you were one of the lucky ones. But now it's starting to bubble up, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. So keep your eye out. Whichever one of those companies, and there are several more that we can't, you know, all fit on and talk about at the same time, I should say. Whichever one of these really comes out in front and starts leading the pack, I mean, that's where these massive gains are going to come in, and it's going to be pretty damn obvious. So
right, and remaining within the tech industry, you know, we're going to shift our focus over to Apple. They reported their earnings last week, I believe it was, or early last week. And they reported that they have $256.8 billion in cash. That's $250 billion they have stockpiled in cash. Now, you know what's interesting about that is that 239.6 billion of that is overseas, mostly in Ireland, where the corporate tax is 12%. You know, we have a 35%, 39% corporate tax rate over here. But what we're looking at really is how you can take a chunk of that 256 billion, you know, that will be over here in the near future.
Right now it's pretty much all overseas, but we think there could be a reason why it could soon be coming back to the States, Jordan.
Exactly. Donald Trump's been talking about a repatriation tax break. So one time he wants to give these companies the opportunity to bring their cash piles that are stocked up overseas back into the United States to invest in the US economy.
Right.
And with him talking about lowering the American corporate tax to 15%, I think it is, that could be a real, incentive for Apple and other companies. I mean, they probably have the biggest stockpile of cash elsewhere.
Yeah.
From the American companies that are international, but
that's a gigantic amount.
Exactly, and there's talk of them buying Tesla, buying Disney, buying Netflix, Pandora. Their shopping list is huge. And I also read something the other day that they could buy all the Bay Area sports teams and still have like $100 billion left over or something crazy like that. So there's talk about them saving the Raiders going to Vegas from going to Vegas, but we'll see what happens with that. Definitely.
Yeah, that's amazing for a huge company like this. And with any bit of news, whenever you first start hearing the whispers of them bringing their money back, I mean, that could have a huge impact on the stock price right away. So.
Yeah. So if you see this money start to drip in, I mean, I believe it'll be a one-time thing because they'll get the one-time tax break if that goes through.
Right.
But you should really be looking at Tesla, Disney, Pandora, all these public companies that are prospected to, take Apple's money, or, not take Apple's money, but be encompassed by Apple.
Of course, sure. Yeah. All right, well, there you go. Do you have any final notes for us then, Jordan?
No, I don't. I don't have anything today, so.
All right, well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll speak to you guys next time.
Thanks for watching another Wall Street Informer production on WSI TV. Be sure to visit wallstreetinformer.com, where you can become a member for free and gain instant access to the secrets of market millionaires via the Wall Street Informer Vault. So go ahead and claim this gift for free now at wallstreetinformer.com.